I've broken some state and national, and I haven't broken a world record. There's a world record in powerlifting that deadlift that is beckoning me there. I went to the Nationals powerlifting championships in Newcastle in June last year, and broke my own national record there and came away with a combined national record. Again, that was all part of a learning journey, and it wasn't something that I was setting out to beat those records. It was about Joel had taken me to a point where he could see that I had enough strength to do these things and achieve that. My name's Paul Kerrin. I'm 72 and a half. I injured my wrist, broke a tendon in my wrist at my nephew's farm, and then I injured the shoulder on my other arm, rotator cuff, and so before I needed surgery on my wrist, my daughter got me out here to meet with Joel to talk about how I could maintain my strength through a process of surgery. What I appreciated about that was that Joel took time to hear from me and understand my body at my age. I was 70 then, and then he started me on some fairly light training, but to my surprise and pleasure, within about 3 weeks my shoulder started to come good, and the rest is, I guess, history from that. The first actual weightlifting was after rehabilitation, and he said to me, "How much do you think you can deadlift?" I said, "What's a deadlift?" Revealing my ignorance, but I surprised myself and some others as to what I could do. It was a mental challenge because I enjoyed it, but then having to make a commitment to actually doing something and stretching myself beyond what I was familiar with. I guess I know myself enough that if there's a bit of a challenge there, then there's a tendency for me to want to meet that. And one of the things that he says is that not to go to your limits, but to work to maybe 80%. He said, "Now you'll be probably invited to be part of the national team for the World Masters Championships in South Africa." And that blew my mind. I'm fortunate that I've got the support of my 3 adult children, and one of my sons, when we were talking about that, he said, "What are you going to do with the Worlds?" And I said, "Oh, well, I don't know, it's a lot of money." And I said, "What do you reckon?" He said, "Ride the wave. Dad, just ride the wave." And that, again, the psychology around that is that, well, why not? At my age, what have I got to lose as long as I use my brains? And so I finished up in South Africa and came home with a bunch of medals. My 3 children, of their own volition, decided that they would get there as well, and that was just an amazing experience and an incredible journey over, roughly a 12-month period. Give it a go. I think one of the things about what people call it aging, I suppose I am aging, but that's, in some senses, age is just a number, but it's also an attitude. And one of the things that I had to think about was, and Joel put an interesting question to me, do you want to think about dying or do you want to think about living? And that was a pretty confronting question. But having some goals to try some things, to have some exercise, to be fitter and healthier, is about how do I want to live. Whereas to have nothing to work towards, I'm still working, I still work full time in a fairly responsible job, but I could retire and sit at home and see my health and my energy decline, and that's not what I want to do. This has opened up a whole new avenue of possibilities. Have I decided what I'll do with that? No, I haven't, but there's something here with this.